Welcome to episode 13 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe, co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And we got two episodes this week, Fear of Victory and The Clock King.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I remember last week, you and our audio tech were joking about Clock King not being this, like, up-to-par villain.
Oh, yeah.
But I really enjoy him. He's, like, Clock King, Calendar Man are two, I think, of very underrated villains in the Batman arsenal.
You know, I had the same thought, actually. As I was watching it, I was like, man, I really like Clock King. I think, and we'll get more into detail later, I think he's better than the episode he's in.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. Mm-hmm. But I was like, actually, you know what? He is kind of a weirdly cool villain. Like, he shouldn't be, because he's just some dude obsessed with clocks. But there's something about him being, like, really smart and all about timing and punctuality. Mm-hmm. These all sound really lame things, but he's actually kind of cool.
Well, my first kind of interaction with the character was actually the Justice League episode.
That's right. Yeah, he comes back
in 6.5 years.
Oh, something. I started, like, projecting along the lines here as to how far we're going. And we're getting actually kind of close-ish to our first movie.
Yeah.
But even then, that probably won't be till, like, April? Something like that. We've got a ways to go.
Yeah. Yeah, if you remember that episode, they kind of pin him as the anti-Oracle.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's the mastermind running the schemes in the background. And I think, yeah, that's a very good role for him, and it
works.
Uses his powers.
Didn't he have a similar job when he was on Arrow or The Flash? Like, as I was looking up the character, he appears in both.
Flash. Or no, it was the first crossover episode, was both of them, right? No, that was Captain Boomerang.
I think it was Boomerang?
That was Boomerang.
I don't know.
Before we get to Clock King,
right? We have another Scarecrow episode, with Fear of Victory. Mm-hmm. So, Cameron, walk us through what happens in Fear of Victory.
This is a very different kind of episode. I feel like it was a very odd plot, but it was a cool plot.
Yeah.
So it opens up with two college students watching basically Sports Center, going over highlights. Mm-hmm. So one of the roommates is a college football player. What was his name? Brian
Rogers.
Brian Rogers, thank you. And I didn't make the connection until later that his roommate was Dick.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
Instantly recognize him?
No,
the voice, the
mask wasn't there.
But you didn't recognize him from the little photo on his wall that was like him at graduation with Bruce. That was like, good luck in college,
honestly
Dick.
Wasn't paying that much attention to the background.
Oh my God, really. Literally my first note is, hey, it's Dick.
No, mine is a couple ones down.
At least you caught on eventually.
Yeah, when they got in the Batmobile, I caught on.
Oh, man.
So they're playing this highlight reel, and the announcer's kind of not sure what's happening because all of these pro athletes are kind of losing their mojo.
Yeah, they're freaking out.
Yeah, with no real explanation. And then suddenly the door someone comes to the door, and it's a odd shaded character.
Yeah, it's got like a big mustache and big glasses, and he's carrying a telegram because that's still a thing.
This episode felt very dated.
It's there's so many elements of it that are weirdly anachronistic. Because it's well established that this takes place in the 90s, but this weird, like, timeless,
like 60s, 90s.
Yeah, well, even more than that, because the football players, both professional and college, are wearing like the old like leatherhead suits, which I don't think those have been around since the 30s or the 40s. Yeah, but it's black and white TV showing modern sports highlights of classic football players, and telegrams are still a thing.
Right.
Like, no one got weirded out that a telegram arrived. If someone knocked on your door and says, like, oh, here's a telegram.
Well, if you saw later in the episode, like, the other pro athletes were also getting telegrams.
Yeah.
So it's just, like, part of the culture still, even though everyone has a phone. I guess they just don't have answering machines.
Yeah.
They have everything but.
Okay, so everyone has, like, landlines, but no one has cell phones.
Right.
Yeah.
Except Bruce probably does.
He probably does, but he doesn't share his tech, as we've established.
Mm-hmm. So they get the telegram. It basically says something along the lines of,
only a fool knows no fear.
Right, thank you. And he got it, the day before his big game with all the scouts. We jump to the big game. Brian is freaking out on the field. There's a kind of a pan shot where you see Scarecrow in the rafter. You see the Scarecrow silhouette in the rafters.
Yeah, out there cackling away.
And Brian just kind of ruins his not really career, But he throws the game because he can't.
Like, he's in the huddle and he's freaking out. He doesn't know what to do. And the other player's like, well, no, we should pass. Don't run it. And then he goes to pass and he sees the opposing team charging towards him. They turn into literal monsters. Mm-hmm. And so then he's like down on the ground and he's crying and he's freaking out. And Dick just leaps out onto the fields and
no one questions it.
No one stops him. He's like, just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
In the middle of the game.
This guy knows Bruce.
Yeah.
This guy knows Bruce Wayne.
And they're not going to stop him.
Yeah.
He's a ward. So, and the guy's still freaking out, and Dick's like, what the hell's... Something's weird going on here.
Yeah. So then we jump to the Batmobile. Dick jumps into the car with Bruce. They're driving around the city doing their patrol. Robin's explaining all of this to Batman, and the worst criminals ever appear because Bruce notices a necklace fall from the sky, like a pearl necklace.
Yeah, just lands in the street.
Yeah, and he looks up, and it's these two crooks holding a box of jewelry, like half over the side of the 50-foot building.
Just losing loot off the side of the building. It's like, okay, so they jump out, they grapple into action.
So it was a different grappling hook. Did you notice that?
I did notice that. Well, I think,
it was a weird, like, two-handed...
Yeah, they launched a normal grapple, but for some reason, rather than the traditional claws, they're like batarangs, more or less, that then lodge into the ceiling. And then, how would you describe it? It's kind of like, it's like a roller, like a two-handed roller.
Right.
Like it's a piece of gym equipment. It's the same thing, where like you hold on with both hands, like you roll out and roll back. And it's like a wheel in the middle of it. Weirdest thing.
Yeah, and I don't understand why they use that, because a minute later you see, so we'll continue the episode as they're climbing up the building. Robin starts freaking out in the same way that his roommate did. Mm-hmm. And so he like lets go of the grappling hook, leaches onto the wall and can't. And is just like stunned. He can't.
That's some like serious strength too, because he's not on a ledge. He's like literally like pressed arms and legs against it. That's impressive, especially in a moment of panic. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's Robin. It's Dick Grayson, so I get it. But that aside.
So Batman, being the good father/brother figure he is, just like forgets about the goons up on the roof and goes in to try and save Robin. The goons notice. They throw what has to be like a 400-pound block of cement. So
they have crowbars because everyone has crowbars.
Because that's the goon weapon of choice.
Yeah, exactly. It's the wet bandits here. They got their crowbars. So they dislodge. Thank you.
That sounds right.
They unlodge some bricks, which fall down.
But it's not bricks. It's
they start with bricks
and cube,
and then it's a giant stone, like actually no, probably metal statue, like a gargoyle style statue on top of the building with what has to be hundreds of pounds of concrete underneath it, and they just crack this thing open and push it off the side. Those guys are strong.
And it doesn't even do any damage when it hits the ground. Like, that ground should be destroyed.
Yeah, it should put a huge crater in the ground.
Right.
But so these guys are just chucking about 1,000 pounds worth of building ornament off the side.
Right. So as the stone comes falling down, Batman lets go of his first grappling hook, kind of runs around the side of the building and uses his normal grappling hook. So that's what I didn't understand. I guess they needed that. They needed the first one so he could use the second one.
I think they needed a moment of peril, because we do get a commercial break as he's falling. Right. And what I'll give them credit for, at least when we come back, he does what he should do, which is just launch his grapple gun.
Right.
Which we have seen him not do in so many other instances.
Mm-hmm. So the crooks get away. Batman goes up and like slowly descends with Robin.
Well, hang on. First, though, he swings into
right. How could I miss the most fantastic moment of this episode? So using the grappling hook, he swings through a window, and it's a woman in her robe who starts off panicked,
and
then turns into this like seductive, like, oh, hello.
Oh my.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
You surprised me in my hour of delicacy.
Yeah. Batman gives her a little wink.
Yeah, Batman walks out the door. You see that creepy smile come back.
Smug bastard.
And then we continue the story.
Yeah, and then we go back, and he's like, oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, right.
My ward is clinging to the side of a building.
Then they slowly descend. They go back to the Batcave. Oh, they go to the dorm first.
Yeah, because they're like, well, this can't be a coincidence that you and your roommate both had panic attacks. So what's the deal?
So they pick up the telegram.
Yeah, they figure there's powder on it. So then they go back to the Batcave, where Batman has lab cats.
Yeah.
I assumed they were like a pet store at first, because they just show like 4 or 5 cats in like glass containers.
Maybe he just bought them. I like to think, I hope that he doesn't just have like lab cats on hand at all times.
I think he does, but I like your idea that on their way back to the Batcave, they pulled into a drive-through pet store, opened the roof, and it's like, I need like 5 of those cats.
Or I mean,
like a bag of mice.
Well, you see so many cats walking around Gotham. He could have just found them on the ground outside of like Wayne Manor.
I suppose that's true. He sent Robin to just go collect some cats.
Yeah, I'm sure they're everywhere. Yeah. You see more cats running around than you do mice in the city.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. There's a lot of cats. I mean,
yeah. Selena Kyle just brings them in hordes from other cities.
Yeah, she's out of town right now, so they're all out on the loose. Yeah, so they grab all these cats and they're testing out the powder on those cats. They kind of like Kitty and they rub it face.
And they learn that adrenaline activates kind of the fear toxin. It turns adrenaline and excitement into fear and panic.
Yeah, because they put a mice, like they put a mice, they put a mouse in there, and the cat freaks out. It's like, okay, clearly this is a problem.
Yeah, so it's clearly a fear toxin, so they have to go and talk to the fear expert,
Scarecrow,
which is Dr. Crane, who is supposedly locked up in Arkham.
Yep, which is where they head.
And I guess this is the first time we see a non-Joker character escape from Arkham. Because everyone is very surprised by this. Like, Batman's like, there's no way anyone can get out of Gotham, even though he's fought the Joker 4 times at this point.
Yeah, and every time he's just constantly getting out of there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the Scarecrow just found a wayward rocket-powered Christmas tree.
I'm sure.
Just made his escape. Yeah, because they go and Batman confronts a guard, and the guard's like, no, don't go in there. Like,
I promise
he's in there.
Yeah, I saw him 5 minutes ago.
Trust me, he's in there. Batman doesn't buy it.
But what I did appreciate, so as he is walking through Arkham, you see all of the past villains that we fought.
Yeah, I think we see pretty much all of them, right?
You see the big 3.
Yeah, you see Joker, you see Poison Ivy,
and Two-Face.
Yeah, I guess that's everyone we see.
Yeah, you wouldn't see Clayface because people think he's dead.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze was in his own like section of Arkham.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he's in like the cold section there. Croc, but
you don't see Croc. Sewer King, he's missing from this lineup. Our old favorite Sewer King.
Oh, the Sewer King.
Mr. Invisible, that other great guy.
Yeah, I don't even remember his name.
I think that's why they didn't show him.
Yeah, that's how forgettable he is.
They get to the end of the hall. They open the door. They see Scarecrow's outfit, and it's being moved in a rocking chair by just kind of a remote control device.
Yeah,
so
he's gone.
Crane has escaped. Surprise. Yeah. Someone got out of Arkham.
Yeah. So then we're over at a Bookies.
Where Leon the Bookie,
where Scarecrow, in his weird disguise, is he wearing a mask on top of his mask?
Yeah. You see later he removes it very quickly, too.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of like snaps off or something.
Is it just a mustache and sunglasses? But it's like his big crazy grin is gone, though. So,
or it's just hidden. Like he has that giant collar that kind of hides most of his face.
You know what? And I didn't really think about this at the time, but this is a different look for the Scarecrow. Because the last time we saw him, he looked more like the disguise, where he was wearing the hood and he just kind of had like...
That's true.
He didn't have the big crazy grin. It was kind of a more subtle mouth and just normal kind of eyes. And this time... big, wide, like detailed eyes and a big, wide mouth with all these teeth. That's weird. So I almost wonder if, like, when they started sketching out his disguise, they based it off of his old look. If you put sunglasses and a mustache on his old look, it would look the same. But then they decided to give him maybe to differentiate it more. I don't know. They gave him a totally different look this time around.
I'm not sure. I missed that too.
Well, because I remember reading in like the IMDb trivia, like he got a redesign. I'm like, no, he didn't. Like, oh wait, no, he did. He does look a lot better. No, now I think about it this time around. But anyway, so he's at the Bookies and he's raking in some serious money.
Yeah, I think they said he wins $28,000.
Woo, well done.
For if we include the 4 things we saw in the Sports Center thing at the beginning, this would be his 5th win.
Yeah, so he's making some serious money sabotaging these games. And the was it Leo? Who was the bookie?
Leon, the bookie. Yeah,
Leon's not buying it.
Not the professional, the bookie. He doesn't believe that this, like, a person could be this lucky. So he sends his goon. Did you see who voiced the goon?
It was Tim Curry.
Right?
I was like, was that Tim Curry?
It was.
It was. But
of all the roles Tim Curry could have gotten.
Very un-Tim Curry-ish.
He gets the 2-line goon.
Yeah, like, I'm so used to thinking Tim Curry is like full Nigel Thornberry, and this was...
Right.
I didn't even notice.
Or the pollution monster from Fern Gully.
Oh, that's right. He did do that.
Yeah, it's a great song.
I haven't seen that in such a long time.
Neither have I, but it's still a great role. So the goon follows Scarecrow, very generic, normal, creeping behind scene.
Yeah, like 10 feet behind in plain sight.
They walk into Scarecrow's home, I assume.
It was
like
the
a
Gotham
stable.
Square Gardens, and there was some sort of horse show or like horse thing.
Okay, that makes because they walk into the stables.
Yeah, so they go into these stables which are full of straw.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there is.
And Scarecrow, or the bookie, thinks he's caught him. Scarecrow turns around, hits him with his telegram full of the fear powder, and then the goon just starts freaking out and can't contain himself. Jump cut to the next morning. He's found by Gordon,
and he's the goon's now in the police infirmary, freaking out underneath the
bench.
Bench. Yeah, I don't know. Something. I don't know.
There was a lot of information that happened in this episode.
Yeah, there was a lot of like really dense sections of exposition. But yeah, basically we figure out that clearly the Scarecrow's betting against the people he's sabotaging. As Batman points out in a rather dickish way to the commissioner. Commissioner's like, "Oh, I don't see any connection between the bookie and all these sports teams failing." Batman just kind of calls him out on it. It's like, come on, man, put it together. Oh, don't be mean to the poor commissioner.
Right. He's trying to look for the best in people.
Yeah.
Unlike you, Batman.
Dick.
So we jump back to the Batcave. Robin is still trying to overcome this fear. We're not sure when the toxin's going to wear off or even if it will. But he's like, suit up. I'm still going to bring you out crime fighting with me.
Yeah. What I found was interesting in this whole episode, Batman and Bruce is really, really supportive. Especially as you see later on in the series and into like the new adventures in the Justice League, he develops this edge and he's kind of this guy who will do whatever's necessary to get the job done, kind of at the expense of other people and their feelings. And in this situation, he's like really, really sympathetic to Robin. And it's like, no, come along. You'll be my second set of eyes. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll drive slow.
Yeah, I'll drive slow. It almost like it was nice, but it almost felt a little bit uncharacteristic.
Well, the way that I see it is he was playing Alfred. This is the same way that Alfred treats Bruce. And so that's kind of the only way he knows how to care for Robin.
That's interesting.
Is just repeat what Alfred did for him.
Yeah. I guess I'm just so used to him really not caring for people in such an obvious way that it was weird. But that's a really good point, actually. I hadn't thought about that.
And also, there's no Alfred in this episode.
Oh, so I think, okay. Someone had to...
I think maybe, like, Alfred was supposed to give this little talk.
Okay, someone had Alfred up a little bit?
Yeah. And they're like, who's the voice actor? Like, he must have been busy that week.
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
Yeah. He must have been busy that week.
I guess so. Well, they had enough people in this.
Yeah.
Because, they have Mark Hamill. They have Tim Curry. They have whoever voices the Scarecrow.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
I forgot. Yeah. Yeah, like I say, they gave him a break. But
so they go to the next football game.
Well, this one's now the professional team.
Yeah. Gotham.
The Knights, I believe.
That makes sense.
Of course it is.
And Scarecrow is trying to freak out their quarterback as well. And Robin kind of thwarts the plan. Instead of giving him a telegram, he just pours a bunch of fear toxin into the helmet. Robin catches on, replaces the helmet, go to the game. Guy's playing great. Scarecrow is like freaking out because I assume he bet all of his money again.
Yeah.
And he's losing because the fear toxin isn't activated and he doesn't know why. You learn that, weirdly enough, chemicals are kind of expensive in Gotham.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense because there's a chemical plant at every corner.
Well, we have to factor in that all those chemical plants probably have crazy insurance premiums.
Right.
Because they're constantly blowing up and getting lit on fire and stuff. So I imagine their profit margins are really, really narrow. So they probably have to jack up their prices a lot.
That makes sense.
I'm trying to play logic to all this shit.
We're trying. We try.
But yeah.
And so his scapegoat, or Scarecrow's scapegoat, is he has a tiny vial of fear toxin, but I guess that's enough. He just wanted one section. He wasn't going for the whole stadium.
Yeah,
just
one section. If I drop in this one section, it'll create pandemonium.
And then one of the weirdest moments was he drops it, and then there's just another ledge.
Yeah, so they're up the rafters. And goes over the ledge, and it lands on the next level down of rafters. So Batman jumps down to grab it.
Grab it.
So Scarecrow has to stop him. So he basically just falls on Batman. As Batman tries to escape, he just grabs a loose box of light bulbs and smashes them over Batman's head.
So this is one of the few episodes I feel like we always talk about there's that grand scene that can't be done outside of animation. I think they were trying to make it this scene, but it didn't really
work. Yeah, I mean, it's it's kind of cool. They're up in the rafters, a little bit of danger, but the game is playing on below undisturbed because there's actually even like the commentator is he's talking out beats of the plays as they kind of parallel what's going on in the rafters, which I just thought it was weird because you think you might notice something going on, but if you didn't, you'd think you would notice all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of glass pouring onto the field from the broken box, or
even not on the field, but like in one section.
Yeah, I think someone would look up like, oh, why is it raining glass? Oh, hey, it's Batman. Oh shit, it's Batman.
Oh, Batman's here.
Can you just buy a ticket like everyone else?
Yeah. So the vial finally drops as one of the loose light bulbs knocks it over the edge.
Yeah,
and Robin, overcoming his great fear, swings across and catches it midair.
Yeah.
As I did really enjoy the commentary of the sports game was mirroring the action. So he caught it as the Gotham Knights scored their last touchdown. And then what? They just kind of like...
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, cool. We got the vial. Scarecrow gets arrested. They're back at Wayne Manor, and they're watching Brian, the roommate, getting drafted to Gotham Knights.
He's the number 1 draft pick. This episode really encompassed every amount of football knowledge I knew.
Yeah, pretty much.
I knew what football is.
Yeah.
I knew what a quarterback does. And I knew what a first-round pick means.
First-round pick, you knew the difference between a pass and a run.
Yep.
Yeah, that's most of what you need to know. It was interesting watching this episode because, talking back over, it's very basic. It's a very simple plot. It does have like a pretty straightforward, easily resolved arc for Robin. He gets the central arc. But I really liked it.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's a very unique story because it's not really something that I feel like I've seen very much. Where there are a bunch of movies about stealing money, robbing banks. I really enjoy like when people not really fix, but like count cards and like the gambling movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Hustlers and stuff like that. Yeah,
this is an interesting. I mean, this is kind of a hustle.
Yeah, it basically is. But I don't know. It was just, I found myself watching it just kind of like going along, like, all right, yeah, this is really simple, but it's fun. Like, maybe it's that it's got Robin in it. And we've had so little Robin, only one episode so far. And so actually
that's why I didn't recognize it.
That's what, yeah. Well, and because, the order we're watching them in is not the same order that they were released in. Right. So in terms of actual release, this was the first episode that had Robin in it.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I like his presence. I think he is a good foil. And I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, me too. And they kind of needed him because Batman was already hit with the fear toxin in the last episode. So they needed something else to hinder them.
No, it was good. And although I was more excited to watch Clock King, but I found myself liking this episode better.
Yeah, I think so. I think I agree with that.
So speaking of Clock King, anything else in this episode or should we dive?
Not really. It's pretty simple, pretty basic. Fun little
just
superhero
episode. A fun episode of the week, but good. I think what I liked about it, we'll see in contrast in the next episode, is that it all basically holds together. There's not a lot of those moments where like the plot requires someone to do something stupid, and that's my big problem with the Clock King, as we'll find out, is that the whole thing hangs on people acting like idiots, particularly Batman.
Oh, this is also the first repeat villain besides Joker episodes. This is the first time we're going back to a villain we've already seen. Yeah,
that's right. And I like this Scarecrow a lot, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it shows that the writers, like, they already have a character set up. They don't have, like, they can just play in his world now.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to do any more exposition. There's a lot of exposition. They don't have to give any more backstory.
Yeah.
Or give him reasons. We already know his motive. And we know his main plan of attack.
We can just jump in and have an adventure and not have to be burdened by a whole bunch of backstory.
So that was kind of nice.
Yeah. Unlike the Clock King.
Oh, so much. I didn't realize it was a backstory.
So much backstory.
It was all a backstory, and I had no idea.
So, Cameron, why don't you walk us through the first very confusing scene of the Clock King and explain why it's so goddamn confusing?
So we start off, and we see, I don't remember his actual name.
Temple Fugit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a play on Tempest Fugit, Time Flies.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's pretty clever. Or is it really ham-fisted? It's a little bit of both.
I mean, I didn't catch it, so it's clever enough.
Sure.
I don't think any 9-year-old kid watching this is going to speak Latin. Is it Latin? Please tell me it's Latin. You gave me this look. Like, are you serious?
It is Latin.
Okay,
yeah. I was like,
so.
I think kids used to have to study Latin.
Right. No, I remember in Kim Possible there was Tempest. Tempest Monkey. The monkey statue when they go back in time. From Kim Possible, Stitch in Time. You know that movie.
Yes, I know it. Keep narrating. I'll look up the Kim Possible time travel monkey.
So we start off this episode with the Clock King just kind of waiting for his train. It's running late. He gets on. He goes to talk to a young Mayor Hill.
Yeah, well, that's what threw me off, because I'm watching this and I just see what I assume is Mayor Hill sitting on a subway. Like, and what they clearly establish is a rundown, crappy subway covered in spray paint stuff. I'm like, why is the mayor on it?
Yeah, and we learned that he's still a lawyer.
Still a counselor, yeah.
Counselor, thank you. And Clock King is asking for advice on how to kind of get on the good side of the judge. Hill says that he's just too wound up. He needs to, breathe, get off his schedule, calm down. And so he pushes his way of calming down is he pushes his coffee break back 15 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at the Kim
Tempest
Possible. I couldn't find anything with Tempest.
Oh, I'll find it.
With the monkey. You'll find it. But so I don't know if you covered this. Maybe you already did. But the Clock King, Temple, he has basically a court hearing that if he loses will cost him like $20 million. Mm-hmm. You may have already mentioned that, and I would just
I didn't understand any of the political talk they were trying to go over.
Yeah, basically that. He's got a lot at stake, and Hill's comment is, "Hey, if the judge sees you all wound up, he's going to rule against you. So take 15 minutes to go walk outside for a bit." And we can see this is super hard for Temple because he is frustrated. The train is 30 seconds behind schedule, and he's obsessed with time, and everything runs on time. It's all about punctuality and timeliness.
It's what he's most proud of. He says that, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of it's his core being. It's all about being on time. And so he does decide to take Hill's advice, and he goes out to sit in the park and read through his papers rather than being in his office, which doesn't go well for him, does it?
No, because he's very poorly hit with a volleyball, I assume. And then at the same time, a gust of wind.
His papers go flying off.
And as he tries to grab the last sheet of paper, a dog barks and he falls into the pond.
Yeah.
Or the fountain. And he finds out that he's minutes late for his court hearing.
Yeah.
Judge yells at him for being late, and he loses the case because he didn't show up on time. And then as he screams no, he fades in the distance. You hear clocks ticking, and 7 years later.
7 years. I think this is the biggest time jump we've had so far, right? Because we've had a couple episodes with pretty big time jumps.
Yeah, let's see. Poison Ivy was 3 years.
Yeah. What was the last?
Joker's Favor
was 1 year.
Well,
2.
It was 2 years, yeah.
2 years, yeah.
I think those are the only 2 time jumps we've had so far.
Probably. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I haven't been keeping tabs on our time jumps.
I'm pretty sure those are the only 2.
Yeah, maybe our one fan out there can tweet us how many time jumps have there been. But yeah, so it's 7 years later, and Mayor Hill is part of a motorcade off to some event, and Bruce is also in his car being chauffeured by Alfred as part of the motorcade. Mm-hmm.
This was a very weird scene. This it's probably 5 or 8 minutes of this scene. There's no music. I don't know if you caught that. You only hear the other VFX. So you hear the cars.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And so I was waiting to hear the clock ticking or something, some repetitive sound to be reminiscent of that. And we didn't get it, which kind of not upset me, but I was I feel like that would have been a really interesting touch.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't remember there being a particular score for this. There's lots of ticking.
Yeah. So they're driving through, and then suddenly one of the traffic lights goes out. A taxi cab slams into Alfred and Bruce's car. Mm-hmm. Alfred gets out and he yells at taxi drivers for being
idiots.
Yeah, not British. And then the biggest illegal activity we've seen in all of Gotham, Clock King has these explosions go off, and all it is a banner comes down of Mayor Hill saying don't reelect him, and he drew a tongue sticking out and devil horns.
Yeah, it's real serious political slander going on here.
Oh yeah, and Mayor Hill can't stand it.
Yeah, or is it libel? It's technically print, isn't it? That doesn't matter.
I don't know. Bruce immediately, without even second thought, we've seen people get away with so much.
Yeah.
And without even a second thought, he runs into a building. You see him kind of run up the stairwell, and he transforms into Batman as he's running.
Impressive. But I have a note about that, too. Of all the things that have happened in the show, this warrants his attention. This makes him run off in the middle of the day to go change to Batman to run up onto the roof. Mm-hmm. He's got to watch out for that libel. So he gets up onto
the roof. We meet Clock King for the first time.
Yep.
Costume isn't really different. He's still wearing the trench coat.
Yeah, he's still wearing suit, bowler hat.
But he has the cool glasses.
Those are awesome glasses.
There's watches on the glasses.
And I love his cane, too. It's kind of cane / blade that he carries around, which is basically a gold hand of a clock.
Yeah.
I love that cane.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he also has expensive exploding pocket watches.
So Batman kind of confronts him, and his response is something Clock King, something, throws like,
you can't beat me because I know
twirls
every minute.
A watch that goes past Batman and blows up. We figure it's going to do something to stop him. It doesn't.
No.
He just kind of like looks at it and then looks back, and Clock King is just casually strolling towards the exit.
Yeah, well, no, he just sits down on the ledge. He doesn't go to the exit.
No, he does. He starts walking towards the stairwell, and then Batman jumps in. He's like, oh,
that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, hey, joke's on you. The 11:15
Yeah, I know the train is always 6 minutes early.
Yep. Off the side of the building, onto the train.
And Batman is just like, how did this happen?
Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is one of many times where Batman gets foiled because he's acting like an idiot. But Batman realizes if to have messed with the traffic signals, Clock King would have had to sabotage Gotham Transit Building. So he has Alfred drive him around. This is an interesting episode, too, because it all takes place basically during the day, and it's Alfred chauffeuring Batman around.
Right, I think that's hilarious.
It's kind of fun. It's silly.
It's very weird.
It's almost kind of 1960s-esque. A little bit. You can kind of see that sort of thing happening. Although if it were happening in the 60s, Alfred would be wearing like a domino mask too and be in disguise.
Oh, that'd be great.
He does. I'm sure you remember from the movie. Right? Yeah, he wears it. But so Batman goes in to investigate the transit building. Signal, One of the computers, I think it's a computer, has been blown up. And what's left behind is a bit of a remnant of a $6,000 pocket watch that the Clock King uses
as his explosive devices. Yeah.
Why? Like,
I don't know.
I don't get it. So, I mean, you kind of think, okay, the whole point is he lost tons of money.
Lost $20 million.
Yes, you assume he's destitute, but he's
I get
throwing around
when they
$6,000 bombs.
Yeah, so after that, they go to his location, and he owns a watch store.
Oh, yeah, because
destroyed as well.
Yeah, the clue that takes them there is that Batman grabs this watch. He recognizes it's expensive, and he knows that they're all registered.
It's a good thing Bruce is rich, and he could recognize that this watch is also expensive. I recognize
this watch. I have 3 myself. And, well, and it's also lucky too that once again, hoarding his technology, he has a wireless internet connected computer in the rolls.
They can just break into, because he says he's getting into the Gotham PD
database.
Yeah.
Again, now Clock King being an idiot, he's using incredibly expensive, easily traceable watches as bombs that are literally connected to his name.
Right. Well, it's almost like the Riddler situation. Do you think he wants to be caught?
Maybe he does.
Because that's Riddler's whole point, is he writes these riddles so Batman will catch him.
That's true. Maybe this is all part of his plot.
He wants to see, because he's also planned out so far ahead. He wants to beat Batman kind of on his own time,
I guess. Yeah.
So they go to Clock King's
watch company.
Yeah.
Which again is in disarray. Maybe we should sell some of those watches and put a little money into it.
No. Well, there's no like upstairs. Like there's no more upstairs. It's just the sign over the stairwell downstairs.
Which is filled with, I'm sure, very nice, expensive clocks.
Right. So he's walking around. He sees the transit building in files, and he sees the
clock tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Gotham clock tower. And then they go back to the Rolls Royce.
I was confused here, because then they just jump to the bank.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out what was happening as this was going on. So I think Batman's reading papers that he found in the watch company, which reference this clock tower, which I think is adjacent to or part of...
I think they did say adjacent to
the bank. the bank, which over the police ban, Alfred realizes has just had a blackout. Because if you black out the bank, then it deactivates the time-controlled vault locks. Of course, it has to be time. So, to the bank. So, they head over there. They get to the bank. Batman steps in. Everyone's been gassed. Everyone's knocked out. He steps inside of the vault. Slams closed.
As always.
Yeah, as a trap, of course it is. But a pretty well-planned trap, actually. This was quite meticulously thought out. So the Clock King has left a tape recorder on top of a case. And he's like, okay, so the vault is locked. You have 15 minutes before all the oxygen is sucked out of the building.
Right, yeah, it's not gas. Like every other villain has a gas bomb or something. Yeah. He's like, no, I get you probably have every kind of gas mask in your belt.
Yeah. So,
I'm going to do the opposite. Yeah. He's going to suck all the oxygen out in 15 minutes.
And that'll take, I think, what did he say? Like 17 minutes less than Batman would need to cut through the door with his acetylene torch. And if he tries to move the case in the middle of the room, it'll blow up.
But he does move the case.
Yeah, he does. But before he does that, we see he's got some sort of plot, though, because he grabs the cassette.
He MacGyvers the shit out of it.
Breaks it open, starts pulling tape out. We're like, what's he doing with the cassette tape? Mm-hmm. But before we can find out,
we jump to Mayor Hill is reopening a new train station, or reopening, he said Central train station.
Yeah, it was Gotham Central train station, but it was a big unveil of the first fully automated subway car.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, so he's making big pomp and circumstance. He cuts the ribbon, and he's waiting, and the car's not coming.
Well, we see a shadowy figure flip the train switch, the very convenient train switch that's in every city.
I missed that entirely.
Oh, yeah, it's directly before you see Mayor Hill.
Yep.
And Clock King, you hear his voice over the speaker system. I don't remember what he says, but how can you? It was a great, high school slander. I feel like, how can you trust a mayor who can't even get the trains to show up on time?
Oh yeah,
and so instead of one train showing up, 2 trains going the opposite way are about to collide in front of the train station.
Yeah,
so everyone runs, big explosion. Everyone kind of gets out of the rubble, and they realize Mayor Hill is missing.
Of course he is.
So then we jump back to MacGyver Batman.
Yeah.
He's built this, from what I could tell, I paused just so I could kind of understand what was happening. He built
a pulley. He basically,
like a pulley system.
More like a laundry line. One of those, you would see in old movies, it would go out the window and you could kind of wheel the laundry out and wheel it back in.
Mm-hmm. So we had that made from the tape recorder tape.
That's some tough tape.
Connecting to the bomb/oxygen vacuum, and he kind of rolled it to the wall. Yeah. And then threw a batarang.
Well, he's hiding behind a improvised bunker made out of
bags of money.
Cash. That's actually pretty, genius up to the point where they're all flammable. But
right.
That aside... and he gets so close to the door.
Maybe some of them were coins.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Although, actually, hang on. Were the bomb to go off, there's no oxygen. To keep the fire going. Mm-hmm. All right, fine.
Sure. Well, you do see a couple of dollar bills on fire as they're that's clear.
Yeah, but so he's hiding behind this bunker, and he gets dangerously close, and then he passes out.
But then he wakes.
He comes back
up.
Yeah,
and then he throws the batarang, and the wall explodes, and he escapes.
Just blows that vault door open.
No, he doesn't get the door. He blows up the wall.
Is it the wall?
Mm-hmm.
Are they blow? Oh,
yeah,
that would make more sense. I was like, that bomb can't blow up that vault door.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
and then you look at the wall, and there was no contraption on it.
Okay, fine. I'm not a complete idiot.
Yeah, sometimes he uses his brain. Not in the next scene.
Oh.
So then we jump to Mayor Hill's perspective.
Yes.
And I think this is a very interesting murder technique. So Mayor Hill is taped to the hour hand of the giant clock.
Yes.
As the minute hand is coming, and at 3:15 exactly, it's going to crush him.
Which, it wouldn't really crush him, right? I mean... the hands have to pass each other.
I think it would
that's how clocks work.
I think it would cut him in half. He'd just lose an arm.
I think he would lose, maybe, I don't know, 15% off of one side of his body.
Yeah.
Enough.
It would hurt.
I mean, he'd probably bleed to death.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, so it's a gruesome, slow way to die.
Yeah.
Fine.
Clock King was he's a outstanding revenge plan.
But yeah, so now we know how Hill's gonna die, theoretically. And Batman
shows up. And this is also outside of him losing the court hearing, this is the first time we see Clock King freaking out.
Yeah.
This is the first time something hasn't gone according to his plan. And so we have this episode has the 2 big Batman go-tos. We not only have a train scene, 2 trains exploding. We also have a gear fight scene.
Oh my God. Gears. I made a note, giant gears. I didn't think about the fact.
We got train safety and gear safety.
Is this the first episode that has both of them?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is a milestone.
This is a big milestone. Not only are we getting to see this twice, but we see that the writers are running out of ideas.
It was inevitable. These 2 elements would finally end up in an episode together.
So Batman runs back into the clock tower. We see all the giant gears. Clock King chases after him, but they're not really fighting each other. They're kind of going up on opposite gears.
And jumping around on different things. And Clock King is getting way too much of a head-on Batman.
Yeah.
Like he says a comment like, "Oh, I've been watching you on the news."
Oh, yeah.
And it takes 1/20th of a second for you to throw a punch.
Mm-hmm.
To which Batman responds, "Oh, but it takes me 1/30 of a second to do this." And he basically does a feint kick and lets the Clock King stab his cane into the gears of the clock.
Yeah.
But that whole fight just it seemed ridiculous that even if it's a guy who has like such meticulous planning, he should be outsmarting him, not physically outdoing him.
Right. Well, you see that from Batman's side, where the whole time during this fight, he's trying to out brute Clock King, and Clock King's just standing there and just kind of dodging with zero effort.
Yeah, I guess.
So then the only time when Batman uses his head is when he beats.
I guess. All right, fine. It just didn't quite work for me.
I think that joke was, so he says it takes 1/20th of a second for you to throw a punch, and it takes 1/30th of a second for you to dodge, or for you to do this thing. And I think that might have been like an animation joke, because when they do like normal scenes, they animate it 20 frames per second.
Oh.
And then when they do really intricate things, it goes up to 30 frames back then.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I think that was supposed to be like an inside joke.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's how I read it. I had a chuckle.
Yeah, we'll take it as that. But yeah, so Clock King jams the works.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing stalls, saves Hill.
Yeah, he grabs Hill and he tries to grab Clock King, but he falls and Batman is horrified.
It's like, ah.
Because, I mean, to be fair, this is the second villain in 4 episodes that has quote unquote died in front of him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we assume. Well,
Yeah. Batman at the end assumes that, he says, if I could have survived this, Clock King could have survived it.
Yeah.
Which I don't really think is true, because Batman has years and years of training and
gadgets and grapples and batarangs. And all
Clock King has his pocket watch.
Yeah. But hey, there's some fancy pocket watches.
They are some very fancy pocket watches.
So, but saves Hill. The police think Clock King's taken out by the gears. Mm-hmm. We kind of know that's not. Yeah, that's about it. Is there any like sort of weird little like fun wrap up scene there at the end, or is that just kind of it?
No, that's kind of it. It's Gordon talking to the police force. Batman's hiding behind a tree because it's still daylight.
Yeah, the whole thing.
This whole episode's in the day.
Yeah.
I guess it has to be because 3:15 is the big number.
I guess, yeah, really, that's the only time that would have worked, actually. Mm-hmm. So I guess they kind of had to do it that way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I like the Clock King a lot. Mm-hmm. I know he has at least one other episode in the animated series, and then, like you mentioned, he comes back in Justice
episode.
League. I think those are better than this one, but I still like him as a character.
Absolutely.
And so, like, as I always do, I kind of looked him up a little bit, and there's not that much to him. I mean, so the original character was named William Talkman, and that's the name that was used in The Flash and Arrow.
Okay.
And he was first the Clock and then the Clock King, but he's always traditionally been a Green Arrow villain. And then when they used him in the animated series, they gave him the name Tempest Fugit. Yeah. Temple Fugit instead. And he had an appearance in like the 66 show as well. But yeah, there's not that much to him. I did have a kind of a random side question though. You watched this on Amazon? Mm-hmm. Did you also have the Batman Superman intro instead of the traditional Batman the Animated Series?
Yeah, is this the first time you've seen that?
I mean, I remember it, but
I mean, in the series. Oh, on Amazon, probably a third of the episodes use that intro.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because I've watched basically everything we've watched. Well, actually, no, I watched like most of the episodes on DVD, and then I started watching on Amazon. And I've watched later episodes that would have actually had that intro and don't. Mm-hmm. And I was just taken aback, like, why this random one has it? But I know it was cool to see. I like that intro. But it was kind of bizarre.
This has been an intro, I think, since whatever the episode after Two-Face, I feel like had the Batman Superman intro.
Okay, yeah, I guess I've just missed it so far. Maybe, like I said, I stopped watching it on DVD. Yeah, good episodes though.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Clock King is a great villain because Batman does fight some very smart people, scientists, physicists, etc. But this is the first time a villain's like his power is his brain and his preparedness. And I think that's why he struggles, is because like it's hard to beat someone who's prepared.
Well, I mean, because Batman's usually prepared, or at least knows how to improvise, and all of a sudden this guy comes in who is much more prepared than him. It's a good dynamic that I don't think they fully take advantage of, but I like the character,
right?
And I like what he brings to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember liking his other episode better.
I don't remember his other episode exactly. I mean, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, his Justice League episode is one of the coolest, one of my favorites.
It's the Suicide Squad episode.
Yeah, Task Force X.
Oh, that's a good episode. Mm-hmm. Well, It's going to be a long time before we get there.
But we have something to look forward to.
We do, absolutely. But any other notes on this?
Not really.
No? All right, so now we're on
fun,
to...
just kind of one-off episodes.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're on to Bat Plug.
Bat Plug.
What do you got for us?
What have I been watching? Movie-wise, if you guys haven't seen Moana yet, it's...
I figured you've already seen it.
Oh my gosh, I've seen it twice, and it's all I've listened to so far. The soundtrack
where has
is so
been my
good.
text to go see Moana, man?
I'm sorry. We can go later. I'm happy to see it again. It's so good.
I figured you go see it again. Yeah.
TV shows, let's see. I mean, the news has been out for a while, but Young Justice is getting a season 3.
Yeah, excited for that.
So I'm rewatching season 1 again. This is probably the 6th or 7th time I've gone through it.
It is amazing. Like,
there's only one other show that I've watched this much, and that's Avatar.
Oh, right.
Which is obviously my favorite show of all time.
Yeah.
But just more cartoon reruns. That's what my life comes down to.
Well, I mean, it's sort of what we talk about all the time.
Yeah. What are you watching right now, Chris?
I haven't been watching too much. After talking about Killer Croc, I did go reread Earth 1, Batman Earth 1, volumes 1 and 2. They're good. But have you read those? Have you read like Superman Earth 1 and Batman Earth 1?
Only the first couple issues.
Okay. What I had forgotten is that I always remember reading them and feeling a little bit unsatisfied at the end. And I figured out what it is that they kind of feel like long TV show episodes, but they don't feel like a complete story.
Okay.
Like, I have this big problem with any sort of franchise that does a reboot, and then the first part of the reboot's like a movie or whatever, like ends with the character being who he is. So like they did this with Nolan, like Batman Begins ends, and you're like, okay, cool, he's now Batman. Or like Star Trek ends, the reboot's like, okay, they're now the Star Trek crew. Or Casino Royale ends, he's now James Bond. And all those franchises then went off and had like 2 or 3 other movies that was still about like those characters becoming the versions that we know.
Right.
Like, this prolonged reintroduction. And I kind of forgot that that's what they do with Earth 1. Where it's like, oh, Superman's not always Superman until the end of 3 volumes of this. And this kind of same thing with Batman too, where it's like, it doesn't feel like an entirely complete story. The story's good, but it's almost not enough.
Okay.
That being said, I think they're still fun and they're worth reading, but I don't find them as satisfying as like reading like a Hush or a Long Halloween or one of those. It feels like this nice, big, complete story. But yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I guess technically that's still a recommendation.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
You can still read it if you want.
Yeah, still read it. It's worth reading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think that covers it for this week. Yeah. So
also as of the day we're recording this, yesterday was Kevin Conroy's birthday.
Oh, that's right. I did see that on Twitter. Yeah. Thank you for being awesome.
Yeah.
And
giving us so much to talk about.
Yeah, giving us a real Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that ends it. So thank you to Olga Desatnik for coming down and being our audio engineer down here at the Nerdist School. And we are at Timm Talk Pod on all the social medias. And where can we find you, Cameron?
You can find me at Cameron Dexter on everything.
And I'm at Lordifer. And we're back next week with 2 episodes that I can't remember.
Yep.
Off the top of my head.
They'll be talked about.
But I'm sure they'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Tempest Simia.
What?
The Kim Possible thing.
Time Monkey?
Yes. Tempest Simia.
Wow, you remember that at the last moment. I'm really impressed.
I try. Thank you guys for listening.
On that bombshell. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.